Welcome back to another edition of New York Out Game. Your boy Dexter Henry alongside my guy Bryan Fonseca.
Sir.
Coming to you this week, and we are recording this, just so everybody's clear, we're recording this before the game against the Thunder. But what we're going to talk about today, it doesn't really matter about whether the game against the Thunder happens or not or what the result of that is. We are going to talk to you about 5 things that Bryan and I need to see the Knicks clean up in the final month plus of this season. Yes, we are here. We are in the home stretch of the Knicks season. And look, the Knicks are, at the time of recording this, they're 40-22.
Mm-hmm.
They are a really good team. They have had some flaws that we have talked about.
Mm-hmm.
They are not a perfect team, but there is no perfect team. I always like people say that all the time. There's no perfect player. Yeah, thanks. We know this. There's no perfect player.
Yeah. We're clearly the authorities on this. Nothing you're going to say is going to deter us from any of our thoughts in this episode.
Yeah.
We're joking, obviously.
No, they're joking.
But if you do have comments and thoughts on what you think we should include or you want to expand on a thought we have, please feel free to let us know.
Yeah, let us know. But we're going with 5 things that the Knicks need to clean up in the final month of the season. Some of you guys who've been watching us might say, I knew that. Some of this is predictable. And you'd be right.
Maybe.
And it's kind of where we're going to start here at number 5. You might have predicted this one. The Knicks in the final month plus of the season, you know what they need, Bryan? We've been asking for this. We've been searching for it because this man has disappeared at times. We have not known what's gone. Mikal Bridges. Consistent play from Mikal Bridges. Now, everybody can be excited about what they saw with Mikal Bridges in the game against San Antonio. Recent win.
Depending on what he did in the game against OKC, which you will have watched by the time this is out.
This is going
so
on.
We don't know. He might have had 11 again. We don't know.
Here's my thing. I'll get to that. Point total. For me, it's not all about point total. I'm bringing up the San Antonio game, and I think there's an argument that the San Antonio game, the Knicks won this past weekend, might have been the best game he's ever played as a Knickerbocker in a Knicks uniform. 25 points, 5 steals.
Didn't he have a 37, 38?
I thought this was more complete. It's about the defensive effort being complete to me along with the points. You can go with the 41-point game against San Antonio last Christmas, but I thought the game he played on Sunday was just better. His impact on the game all around to me just felt better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm kind of going for. You mentioned 11 points again, and I know what you're saying because sometimes we've seen the man disappear and have a hot shooting start, 10 in the first quarter, 1 for the final 3, and there's your 11.
He does this.
But if he scores 14 points, but he gives me that effort on defense that you see, he's getting deflections, he's getting steals, guys are not asking for him on a switch, then I think you're talking about it. It's just consistency. We've seen this man disappear. We've seen him reappear. We know Mikal Bridges has it in him. You see that against San Antonio. He's a really talented player, but it just always hasn't been consistent. And, Bryan, the Knicks need this from him. And the reason why we're talking about this down the stretch over the final month of the season is you want some of that confidence, too, going into the playoffs.
The advanced numbers will tell you he's been better this year. Has it felt that way to you?
Early it did. Middle of the season, especially during that 2-9 stretch, it really stuck out that it wasn't. Mm-hmm. And I would say as of late, it has. I thought he played really good defense against San Antonio and Toronto. Those were games that encouraged me because of what he was doing on the defensive end, which was more like the guy that I think Knicks fans thought they were getting. Don't get me into this Brooklyn Mikal Bridges and is he like no. That's not. There's always this thing about people saying they need that. What you need is somewhere between Brooklyn and Phoenix.
Yeah, and this is why I bring this up is because if you just look at some of the advanced numbers and some of the catch-all metrics that the nerds will use to sort of quantify this. Now we've watched the games and probably more games than some of the nerds have, so we'll get to that in a second. But his win shares per 48, which is a decent metric to capture like who's actually impactful in their 48 minutes and how much they matter. It's way up from last year, which was 0.090, and now this year it's like 0.160. So that's like a lot higher than it was. And frankly, it's actually the second highest of his career so far to this point. Does it really feel that way? Not necessarily. To give you context of how much that may or may not matter, his best season is not the year that he was all defense and finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting. That would be less than this year. His VORP is a lot higher this year, which is another one that the nerds love. That's at 3 this year. Has it felt like a 3 when watching it? Not necessarily. The offensive rating is up 10 points, which individual ratings for offense and defense are very faulty, and they're very skewed if you're efficient, but efficient could also mean you're not taking a ton of chances. That's part of the problem with Mikal Bridges this season, where he's shooting excellent percentages. 50% from the field as of the time we're recording this. He's about 39% from three, and on free throws, he's 83%. These are all great numbers, but you see disappearing acts. The advanced metrics won't always capture that. The advanced metrics won't always capture, hey, somebody is actually not really being in the action. They're just kind of on the floor. Mm-hmm. This is one of the things that I tell the nerds about Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert has great advanced metrics, great defensive metrics, but he's also great at guarding the paint. It's not going to reward somebody as much who's switching up and guarding everybody like an Isaiah Stewart, like a Bam Adebayo. It's going to be graded differently. So if you're staying in the paint, or in the case of Mikal Bridges, if you're standing in a corner a lot, then the advanced numbers are going to look better. So I think there's some noise into some of these numbers, and from what we've seen this year, it's just been inconsistent. Like, as you mentioned, he has the game against San Antonio. Before that, obviously, you have the 10 points against Milwaukee, which, whatever, you win by 30, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah, that was the game. It's like, whatever.
But but again, he's 5 for 8 in that game, so it's going to look amazing, right? Once you look at, what the advanced numbers were. But then you have, like, the games against Detroit, the last one in particular, where he only had 8, and we were watching the game, and it's like, ¿Dónde está Mikal Bridges? Where is he? And that has to change in the playoffs. And the defense also has to be more consistent. I feel like it's been better lately, to his credit. It absolutely has been better lately, since that Detroit game, as a matter of fact. But in the playoffs is where it's really going to matter, because he had those moments against, like, the Celtics, but you didn't see it as much against the Pacers, for example.
If Mikal Bridges is scoring, then we'll move on. If Mikal Bridges is scoring 14 to 16 points in the playoffs, and this is the other thing I would add too, a lot of people are going to focus on points.
Yeah.
For me, it's more about if he's in that range of points, but he's giving you really high-level defense, especially at the point of attack, then I know Mike Brown has not been deploying him as much in that way lately, which I've actually been fine with, and he's been playing a lot more off and getting into passing lanes and all that good stuff. But you talked about the advanced statistics and how sometimes they can disguise things. And you know what it disguises? And you talked about a 5 for 8. We talked about this before in looking at Mikal Bridges when we broke down the numbers. He is one of the better players in the league finishing at the rim, but he doesn't take enough chances finishing at the rim.
Anyone who's watched the Knicks extensively this season will hear that and be like, get out of here.
Yeah,
he does not take a lot of
No,
layups.
but the numbers show you that he's in the upper echelon.
That's why you got to watch basketball. So I got to look deeper than the numbers.
At the rim. The problem is you don't see it often enough, and I understand that that's a problem for Knicks fans, and they're right, because he doesn't take chances often enough, and that's why certain advanced metrics will skew to him. Is Mikal Bridges having a bad season? No. Is he having a consistent season, which is why we use that word very clearly here?
Yeah.
The answer to me is no. It's been very inconsistent. Started off good, fell off a bit. I like more of where it's trending lately. That hopefully can be a good sign. You just hope you get some of the consistency from Mikal Bridges back. All right, number 4 on our list that Bryan and I came up with. Look, this guy is not playing right now, and that's Deuce McBride. Can you get him back into the rotation before the postseason starts, right? Now, we use the term 5 things we need the Knicks to clean up in the final months of the season. Well, cleaning up things also is getting healthy. That's really nice before the playoffs. Can you get healthy? And Deuce McBride, we know how impactful he is for the shooting and all that. Bryan, I don't know how you feel about this, but I don't necessarily like bringing somebody back who's been hurt and then trying to reintegrate them when it's postseason basketball.
Yeah.
Now, opponent can factor in a lot to that.
Yeah.
But it's more ideal if you can even get him for 2 or 3 games towards the end of the season where he can get his legs back up under him, get used to some NBA competition, depending on how competitive those games are. Do they matter? But, yeah, I'd like to see Deuce McBride back before the end of the season.
I would say only if he's healthy, which is really the key.
Well, yes,
right?
you also don't want to rush him back if he's not healthy.
So, 2 things here. Briefly. 1, those few games you have, like you have 6 games in April and looking at the schedule, 4 at home, by the way, before the end of the season. A couple of meaningful ones. I would say more than a couple. You have Boston, third to last game of the season at home, that could be seismic in terms of the standings. We'll see how that sort of shakes out.
Could determine the Atlantic Division for those of you who care about that.
There are some people who have bets on the Atlantic Division, so I'm not one of them. I don't do division bets necessarily, except for Charlotte Southeast Division this year.
So you do have one. What? I don't do one except for
you got to let me finish the sentence. You know what I'm saying?
No. You said that like it was going to be a hard stop, and then slid that right in there. Come on. We heard what you did. Go ahead.
Years of experience doing this, boys and girls. Toronto Raptors, speaking of Atlantic Division, second to last game of the season. And then you actually have Charlotte on the last game of the season, which that could be very meaningful from a standings perspective. And also, Charlotte could be fighting for a playoff spot by then and could be fighting to face you. So that's the other thing to watch out for, because that could be the 2-7 or 3-6, however you shake out with that. So with Deuce McBride coming back, yes, you want to get him reps in some of those games. It'd be great if he came back for like that Hawks game right before all that on the road, or that Bulls game right before all that, or the Grizzlies if he's ready for April. But if he's not, and if he's not healthy, then it is what it is. Like, everyone has injuries at this time of the year, and you actually hope that you're not going to get another one, because that's just the nature of the NBA this year. And the Knicks have actually had good health luck this year relative to some of their peers, relative to a lot of other teams. They've had really good, like much better than the Cavs, for example, and obviously the Celtics have been missing Tatum all year, so they have to take advantage of that. That being said, Jose Alvarado has plugged in a lot of the Deuce McBride holes so far in terms of impacting lineups, in terms of playing winning basketball, making plays, making the opportune three-point shot, making the right play just on offense, and making the right stop on defense, point of attack defender, and going to advanced metrics that may or may not matter. This is one where I think it matters because it's so much better than everyone else right now. He has the best on-court plus-minus per 100 possessions on the team at plus 23.4, which is more than double where Deuce McBride was. Small sample, only 10 games.
Right.
10 games at the time we're talking about this. Maybe OKC greatly affects this, we'll see. But then the on-off is also plus 17.8. Second on the team would be Deuce McBride at plus 6.6. So he's basically doing a very good Deuce McBride impression so far. So if Deuce isn't healthy, and this is why you have Jose, maybe you don't have to rush him back.
That's a great point. Because of the Jose impact and not having to rush him back, but still you'd like to see him back.
Yeah.
This was your best three-point shooter on the team.
Are you concerned when he comes back that, okay, one, you're going to have to play him. Mm-hmm. You're going to keep playing Jose. You're going to keep playing Brunson. You want to keep playing Shamet. Like, are you going to have too many small guards in your rotation? Like, are you worried about that and having to play multiple of them at the same time in a lot of different lineups?
I'm not as worried about it. It's not ideal because you always like to have a little bit more size if you can. But Mike Brown has shown a willingness to be like, size be damned. If you're giving that effort on defense, I'm going to play you. Something that I actually respect. Now, how that works might get into somebody we'll talk about a little bit later, very soon around this.
Let's do it.
And how this person plays. You don't like it, but here's the thing. Jose Alvarado, we know what kind of defender he is. Deuce McBride is a little bit more rugged than him, can get up into you kind of more like a Landry Shamet-ish, so he gives you a little bit of a look on defense. Not that Jose Alvarado won't do that because that man has no back down.
Yeah.
But
he's 6 feet tall.
He's 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Deuce, you get a little bit more size. I don't think Coach Brown is going to be afraid to do that. Now, being afraid to do something and you know, how it works against other matchups is a different thing.
Yeah.
So slight concern.
A lot of this will be matchup dependent.
Yes. A lot of his matchup dependent.
I don't love it against Detroit. I think you're fine against
Cleveland.
Well, I was going to say Boston. Cleveland, I'm less sure about that just because they added, like, Harden's significantly bigger than Darius Garland. It's not a size thing with me for Cleveland. It's just like, can those three dudes, not Donovan Mitchell, come through in the playoffs? Maybe they will, maybe they won't.
I mean, yeah, look.
They have enough size, though,
I think it's a matchup thing, and I think you'll see. I think this is the point of what we talk about, what the regular season is for. This is why you download the information. This is why you're trying to see different lineups, and this is kind of why I would love to see him come back.
If he's healthy, absolutely.
You're able to get just a little bit more information with him, with Jose Alvarado, with other guys, and I think that's where it's important. Is can you get a little bit more information because we haven't seen Jose Alvarado.
I want to see Jose and Deuce together.
Yeah, I'd like to see some of that too.
Dog and dog, come on, bro.
I even think if you got Shamet out there sort of playing a little bit of 3, I know it's not ideal, but you got some guys willing to shoot.
And Mike Brown, I think, will test it. He'll test drive it.
And that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
I feel good if they can clean up that unknown about Deuce McBride being in the rotation with a Landry Shamet, with a Jose Alvarado. I'd like to see that sort of sorted out.
And you hope that everyone else remains healthy in the meantime.
That's
the other
key thing. Got to knock on that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 3 for us is a guy we have talked about a little bit. Like this rookie, Mohamed Diawara. I'm going to come out here and say it. I think this man should be part of the rotation.
Okay.
I think he should be part of the playoff rotation. Yeah. Well,
okay.
Are you anti Mo Diawara being part of the playoff rotation?
No, but if you're giving me a playoff rotation, I'm assuming are you going 9 or 10 deep, and then okay, what's the rotation then? You know, like you
got your starters. It's assuming Deuce McBride is healthy. I'm gonna put for this.
So with Deuce McBride, that's why we got to talk these things out. So you have Brunson, Towns, OG, Hart, Bridges.
Oh, you said Towns. Sorry.
That's 5. Mitch.
Yep.
Jose.
Deuce.
Shamet. Diawara.
Yep.
That would be your 10. Are you missing somebody?
No.
Are you
these
sure?
are the 10 that should be playing. These are the 10 that should be playing. I don't know how many minutes you're giving Diawara. Here's my hope. I promise you, we have a minutes episode coming as we get closer to the season.
Yeah.
And we'll have any clarity on this. Can you find 7? Do I think you could? It's matchup dependent too. I want to be very clear about that. Can you find 5 to 7 minutes a game for this guy?
So interestingly enough, you might need him for Detroit.
I think you do. You need that size.
I think you might need him for Detroit. I think he can work against Boston. I think he could work against Cleveland. Detroit, you might need him. It might be a necessity.
We've seen him work against Boston.
Right.
We've seen that.
Right. Now, I think with Detroit, because you have so many other guys who are basically smaller than Dennis Jenkins, who was their smallest rotation player, Mo Diawara adds an interesting wrinkle there. I agree. I think it's going to be easier said than done to find those, but I would look to find, to your point, 8 to 10. That's all it needs to be. Honestly, it could even be like, you'll start off the second quarters. If you have it, you have it. If you don't, you don't. If you play good in this 4 or 5 minute stint, then you'll get another one in the second half. And if you don't, then see you next game. You could even do it like that.
But that's what I'm asking for you. I'm not putting a certain number, even though we just went through a range, and we'll get to this later, but solidify that role. Yeah. Understand that that's what your role will be in the playoffs.
So Jeremy Sohan, grab a towel, get comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think I've seen enough of that experiment. Listen, I like Sohan.
That was quick.
Yeah, but and here's the thing. Sohan, if somebody gets in foul trouble, can you dust him off? Can you throw him in for a defensive possession? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, and I think that's fine.
Yeah.
But we're talking about solidifying roles. I think Mo Diawara has shown me enough that he can handle it. Look, we've seen rookies playing the playoffs before. Quickly did it as a rookie. Did not have a great playoff series as a rookie.
Not a lot of people did in that year.
Right.
So,
which is fine.
That's fine.
But I think this kid, I think, is ready. And I think he is fine for limited minutes in the playoffs. Good for him to get his feet wet and learn things in the playoffs. I don't think what I've been saying all year, when he comes in, he doesn't look lost.
It's
and
different.
He's not messing things up.
It's different.
But you got to learn sometime. You got to get thrown.
No. I'm saying it's different in agreeing with you. He looks different than.
Oh, I thought you were saying it's different in the playoffs.
No. I mean, yes,
that too.
It will be, but maybe. But he also could be ready and could be that good. Look, he had a different developmental system. For all the stuff Kevin Durant says about hey, Team USA still has his dominance because look at what happens in the Olympics. When everyone's saying look, the world is here. Not even that they're catching up, or not even that they're better. Just that the levels. Mo Diawara also comes from that. Comes from that level of development. He has a lot more wiggle to his game than we saw in summer league.
We did summer league breakdowns and we didn't even talk about it.
He was not great.
And it was not just us. Nobody was. So it's not like it was just me and Bryan.
He pops off in a way that Ariel Hukporti has not, that Pacome Dadier has not. And that Tyler Kolek doesn't always.
And Tyler Kolek has in flashes, but not.
He's had flashes, but
I don't have the same. I still think there's a role where Tyler Kolek can be a very good backup point guard. I still believe that.
Sure.
Mohamed Diawara, and you and I had this conversation the other day on the phone.
He feels like a role player.
At minimum, but there could be even an even higher ceiling.
What's higher than that? Starter?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like, very good starter.
You're not going to say all-star, right? Okay.
Let's pump the brakes. Hey,
he's 21 in a month and change.
I like the kid. I talked to him the other day. I like his confidence. There's just a good confidence about him, and I think he's ready for the moment. Mm-hmm. And I think the coaching staff has trusted him the way Mike Brown has approached giving him minutes this season. I just would like to see it solidified. So, look, Diawara, you like him. He's a really good player. We will see how all this plays out. But I think just being able to see him in the rotation, in playoff minutes, I think he's ready for it. He's earned it. I'm a big fan. Why not? Why not? All right, moving on. Another thing that the Knicks need to clean up in the final month plus of this season, something we've talked about all year. Bryan's been very concerned about this. Point of attack defense. How are they cleaning this up? Now, look, I think it's been a little bit better lately.
It has, 100%.
Not a little bit, it has been. And I think a lot of that actually really has to do with Jose Alvarado and his impact on this team. Yeah. Some of it has just been Jalen Brunson also defending a little bit better at times too. Mikal Bridges in the situation he's been put in. You can also attribute some of this to the Knicks' overall defensive scheme and how they've been actually funneling guys to the baseline and sidelines and not to the middle of the floor like they were doing earlier in the season. There's still things you'd love to see differently with this team. I have liked where they are defensively. The Knicks right now are a top 10 defense. I've been talking about this all year long. I would like to see them get between 8 to 10. Right now, time for us recording this, the Knicks are 7th in defense in the NBA.
Hasn't felt that way consistently.
Well, when you say
lately, a little bit more.
Well, lately, yes. 11 of their last 19 games, they've held 11 opponents in their last 19 games under 100 points.
Is this a good stretch, or is this something you're going into the playoffs where no, this is because if you're seventh best defense in the NBA, presumably once you get to the playoffs, amongst teams in the East, you're going to be 3, 4.
Well,
does it feel that way to you?
Yes, because right now they would be the 4th best defense in the East.
Behind Detroit,
Miami, and the Celtics. So it'd be the 4th best defense. Does it feel
Cleveland can't be that far behind.
No, Cleveland, they've dropped a little bit. They're now at 12th.
Yeah, and that's around where Orlando is.
And the Raptors are right behind the Knicks.
Yeah.
By literally 1/10 of a point.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, the previous game, before we just recorded that,
and of the 3 teams ahead, I respect the Heat. I'm not worried about them in the playoff series with the Knicks.
Right. So here's you asked, does it feel real? Yes-ish. Because
that's the right answer.
Because we're seeing 19 games, 20 games is a quarter of the season. That is a pretty significant sample size in which they've actually played really good defense. And it's not like they just held bums, talking about opponents. Nobody's really a bum, but teams that are playing bum-like. Under 100 points. They've held some good teams. The Spurs.
Boston, 89.
Or Boston is
Philly,
in there.
89.
Philly, right? Mm-hmm. So they held a Philly team without, when they did have Joel Embiid and played in that game too, under 110 points in that game. But,
Spurs, 89 also.
Right.
89 just seems to be their number, apparently.
There's been some good teams they've had. So it's not like they've just done it against bad teams, although you should hold the bad offensive teams under that amount, and they've done it. Because 110 is really the mark now in the NBA in today's game. But when you're holding people under 100 points, that's really good. That's really, really good. Here's the thing.
And fourth quarter, too. I want to mention that, too. In the fourth quarters, it's been important, too, because, the Rockets scored 90 points in 3 quarters against them, and that's the first time they'd done that in a while because their offense hasn't been great. And then they didn't even break 110. They ended that game with 106.
Yeah, that's a great point.
The Knicks played great fourth quarter defense. And to me, they've been a much better, not even to me, this is empirically, when you look at the numbers too, but they've been a much better fourth quarter team this year than last year.
Oh, yeah. But I'm glad you mentioned that game to bring it back to point of attack defense. I'm so glad you mentioned that game. And yes, I know the Rockets game, the Rockets do a lot of terrible things late in the game. Lack of a point guard doesn't help them and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But in that game, the Knicks' point of attack defense was really good down the stretch, mainly because Mike Brown decided to go with Jalen Brunson, Landry Shamet, Jose Alvarado, Karl Anthony Towns, and OG Anunoby.
Against a big team.
It's a big team. And this is why I said, Mike Brown has shown, size be damned, I'm going to go with the players that are playing the best defense. That's what gives me hope for where their defense can be in the playoffs, and the point of attack defense can be better. I think some of it's to do with Jose Alvarado. I don't think it's everywhere it needs to be yet, Brian.
Yeah.
But I'm encouraged way more with how it's looking. Now,
You should be.
I'm more encouraged with how it's looking. Still think I got to clean it up.
Yeah, it's for me in the playoffs. It's just I want to see it in the playoffs. Like, I want to see now when teams start to pull more of their cards and show more things offensively that they're holding back right now, and then you're starting to see the increased attacks on like Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns when they're out there on the same floor at the same time. So like I wonder how that's going to go. For me, I have a wait and see approach into where their defense is going to be. It's definitely better. Like right now, the OKC game notwithstanding, because again we're doing this before that game, but right now this is the best that their defense has looked consistently. You know, it hasn't been like locked down every single game, but they've had enough high marks. The Philly game we talked about, Boston on national TV, the Spurs on national TV, also that Houston game. And more encouraging for me is their late game defense, because they're plus 2.9 in fourth quarters. That's their margin this year. Plus 2.9. That's the best in the NBA. And second, as of this recording, would be Minnesota at plus 2. Last year, they were not anywhere close to first. Okay, last year they were not a great fourth quarter team, and a lot of their issues was, and it felt like, you know, the Tibbs thing was, you play your guys a lot, and then by the fourth quarter, you lose steam. This was happening early on in the year, and they've changed that dramatically. It's the one thing with this team that not enough people are talking about is how much better they are in fourth quarters this year. Last year, they were 18th in fourth quarter margin. They were in the negative. This year is plus 2.9. That's been everything for them this year.
All I'm saying, we can move on. Having guys a little bit fresher, and the minutes are down. The minutes are down with this team.
They were going up a little bit.
They're back down.
Yeah.
The minutes are down with this team, and this is where trusting a Mohamed Diawara and getting his minutes right, and trusting a Jose Alvarado and getting his minutes right.
And not also playing with your food in the regular season.
And that
They're
too.
doing less of that.
And also, when it comes to crunch time, being able to go with guys and not just riding your starters. If your starters don't have it, whether we talked about the Houston game, whether it was Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart, they didn't have it, and Mike Brown said, all right, we're going to keep this thing moving. Okay, last one. This is the thing we think is more important than anything else for the Knicks that they need to clean up in this final stretch of the season. Bryan has been on this train. He has been the conductor of this train. You shouldn't have missed the train. He's not been late with it. The Knicks got to play better on the road. Now, this also goes with the defense. This has gotten better lately. The Knicks, for a long stretch of the season, were under 500 on the road. At the time of us recording this, they are 2 games over 500, 16 and 14 on the road. They have 11 road games left in the season. Okay? Here's the way I look at this. 11 road games left. Can you go 8-3? Yeah, here's why. You know what? I'll even say 7.
Can I read off some of these games?
I'll even say 7-4. Here's why.
It's possible.
Finish at least, I want to put a number to target on this.
Sure.
Finish at least 5 games above 500 on the road. That should be the goal. Finish at least 5 games above 500 on the road to show me that you could go win some road games with some quality opponents. They have a West Coast trip coming up. They have a chance to get some wins. Can you go 8-3, 7-4? 7-4 will do it. 7-4 will get you 5 games over. 8-3 has you at 6. You can give me the games. Get it done.
So last season, this year they're actually much better against teams 500 or better. But this year on the road, that's been a struggle for them, right? And less so lately to your point. But this year, so far, and as a matter of fact, no. Let's look at the road record for last season's team. Last season's team, to your point, 24-17. And during the Tibbs years, like, they were a good road team. Last year, they were even 6-3 on the road in the playoffs. But they were also at a better road resume during the regular season. This year, and I think this is what matters more, there was a point in late January, so about 6 weeks ago, they were 1-11 against teams 500 or better while on the road. They're 6-13 now. So 5-2 in their last 7 against teams 500 or better on the road. Of the 5, 2 against Philly, 2 against Toronto. Teams that don't seem to have like just any solutions for them. Toronto they just play the Knicks like idiots, honestly. Like the way you beat the Knicks defense is you have to create looks from three that are efficient, beat them in the corners, try to move the defense around, have them overcommit. And Toronto's just like downhill.
Because they don't trust
and it's
their
like
shooters.
that's what the Knicks want. It's like, all right, cool. We want you to just drive and we'll thwart everything you do. They don't even take 33s when they play against the Knicks sometimes. And the other win was against Boston, which you could argue is the most impressive out of that group.
Yeah,
of those road wins. And the losses were to Detroit and Cleveland. So it's not like they lost to, barely 500
Cleveland,
teams.
third game of 4 nights.
Yeah. The Detroit one was a little more inexcusable.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that. Yeah.
There was some injury stuff on both teams. But I think it's gotten better. It's no doubt gotten better. I need to see where it's at the end of the season, just to read off the road games real quick. If you want to play win-loss, let's do that, actually.
Sure.
We'll play win-loss. I'll give you the road games. So, March 6th at Denver.
First game of the road trip.
Aaron Gordon could be back.
Aaron Gordon could be back.
Uh-huh.
Let's say win.
Okay. You have the Lakers on Sunday at 3 p.m., 3:30 p.m. You have the Clippers the day after at 10. It's back-to-back.
Tough.
Clippers been playing better lately,
LA,
too.
don't get the LA flu. I'm going to say win.
Okay. 3-0, all right. Utah, Wednesday, March 11th.
You better win that. They ain't even trying to win. They don't know what W's are out there.
Indiana, Friday, March 13th.
Better win that.
Okay, you're 5-0. Brooklyn, March 20th.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, that's a home game. So,
6-0, okay. They're going to clip this. Somebody will. Charlotte, March 26th on a Thursday. Charlotte is number 1 in net rating since January 1st.
Yeah, I think we're going to do a watch party.
I don't think, listen, I keep saying this about the Hornets. They've been maybe the best team in the NBA for 2 months.
Yeah, they've been really good.
Like, they've been crazy.
I'm actually going to say that look, they could lose the Denver game. I can acknowledge that. They could lose the Denver game as the first trip of a break.
So you're going to have them losing one or the other, not both, Denver and Charlotte.
I'm going to say they lose the Charlotte game.
Okay, so 6-1.
Yeah, Charlotte, I think, could have a lot to play for.
You have 2 nights rest,
Yep.
but you're in Oklahoma City after that.
Loss.
6-2. You have a night's rest, and then you're in Houston at the end of the month.
Win.
Back-to-back at Memphis.
Win. They're not trying to win either.
Okay, so you have 2 losses, if I'm not mistaken, so far, with 1 road game left, and this is against Atlanta on April 6th after 2 days rest.
Win. So 8-3, what I asked for.
8-3, 9-2. Because, yeah. Okay.
I think it's doable.
I think so too.
And I don't think my losses,
I think the LA thing is tricky just because I don't think the Lakers are that good.
Neither do I.
The Lakers are not that good because Laker fans are not even puffing out their chests about this team. They're kind of like, we're kind of tired of this experiment, whatever. Like, you should win that game. The one after, it's like, the Clippers been playing well. You don't really know, and it's the second of a back-to-back, but a win there, I think, would be pretty impressive given how the Clippers have played lately. Same thing with Charlotte later on.
I will say this. I have them starting off this West Coast trip good. If they start that West Coast trip off good, I think they're in good shape to go 7-4, 8-3 over these final games. Dare I even say 9-2. They do 9-2. Now you're feeling really good about this team on the road. But I think it's important for them. I really believe the road bonding can help a lot of teams, especially down the stretch of the season. I've been saying this for weeks to you. I like that they have these road games. I think it's good for this team, especially with the way they're playing defensively right now. They're going to some hostile environments, some of them. Utah's not going to be hostile. Brooklyn's going to be friendly. Memphis will not be hostile. We understand that. We're saying
you might have some Knicks fans in Memphis also. No?
Knicks fans are everywhere.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Memphis might be friendly. So
the food will be.
Yeah. But, hey, yeah, the Knicks have an opportunity to also get some good wins in there, too.
Yeah.
Now, Houston's going to be looking for payback, but I don't trust them, the way that team's designed. So Denver also will be looking for payback.
The Clippers are 23-10 since December 18th. Jesus.
Yeah, they've been good. That's not going to be easy.
Maybe 24 if they beat the Pacers tonight.
It's not a lot. I'm glad you mentioned the rest of the stuff. It's not going to be easy, but I think
those are good games.
If the goal is to play, not just play better on the road, but to finish with a strong road record, 5 games above 500 on the road, I think that's a good goal for this Knicks team. I think it's doable. If you're telling me at the end of the season we're talking about the Knicks 5 games above 500 at least on the road, and their defense is somewhere between 7 and 10,
yeah,
I would feel very good about this team. And the offense is top 3. I'd feel very good about this team. Along with the other stuff we mentioned, I'd feel good about them heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, you do that, you're going to have more than 50 wins. Right now, you're on pace for more than that, as a matter of fact, because you're 40-22 at the time we're talking about this.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll be 40-23, maybe they'll be 41-22. But more than 50 wins, more than 51 wins, that'll be better than they've done in a while.
Yeah,
so.
and it'll be interesting to see. And look, I think it's important they go for the second seed and try to get it. And I think if they hit on some of these things that we talked about that they need to clean up in this final month plus of the season, then I think they'll be in good shape to do it. But those are our 5 things. Let us know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Something else that should make the list? Leave us a comment, a question. We'll get to it in the next mailbag for sure. That is Bryan Fonseca. I'm Dexter Henry. So much more coming up later this month, in the next couple of weeks as we approach the playoffs here on New York Got Game. Peace.
And thanks for watching New York Got Game. Boom shakalaka.